Hello and welcome to the Explainer. If you've ever looked at a Linux terminal and felt, well, a little intimidated, you are definitely not alone. It can feel like this mysterious, powerful tool that's just kind of out of reach. But today, we are going to change that.
For so many people who are just starting out, the answer is a big yes. It's just a blinking cursor in this void, speaking a language that feels totally cryptic. But that whole idea is about to get a major upgrade.
Because that black box, it's not a barrier. It's actually a gateway. And in this explainer, we're handing you the first 5 keys to really unlock its power. So, let's get started.
Okay, first up, let's solve a really common problem. You can't manage what you can't see. When you list the files in a directory, believe it or not, you're not always getting the full story. So our first tool is all about revealing what's hidden.
The best way to think about this is like you're getting a superpower. Seriously. Imagine putting on a pair of X-ray specs that let you see right through the walls of your folders, exposing every single file inside, especially the secret ones.
And the command that gives you this power is ls-a. Now, ls by itself will list your standard files, but adding that little -a flag, that's for all, it shows you everything. That includes all those important configuration files that Linux hides to keep them safe. You'll spot them because they usually start with a period, like the super important .bashrc file.
All right, next up, 2 of the most fundamental things you'll ever do with files, copying and moving them. They sound pretty similar, but trust me, mixing these 2 up can cause some real headaches.
So here's the key difference, side by side. Over on the left, you've got CP for copy. It creates an exact duplicate of your file, and the original stays right where it is. But on the right, MV for move, that physically relocates the file. It vanishes from its old location and pops up in the new one. So just remember, CP clones it, MV moves it.
Okay, let's dive into something that trips up a lot of beginners, file permissions. See, every single file and folder in Linux has a set of rules that says who can do what with it. And at first glance, it just looks like a confusing mess of letters and numbers.
For example, you're going to see this number pop up a lot with files, 644. What in the world could that possibly mean? Is it some kind of secret code? Well, yeah, it kind of is. And we're about to crack it.
Let's use an analogy here. Think about file permissions like the security at a nightclub, right? There's a VIP rope, there are different rules for the club owner, for the staff, and for the regular guests. That number 644 is basically the bouncer's instruction sheet.
So here's how we read the bouncer's instructions. Each digit in 644 is for a different group. The first one's for the owner, the second for the group, and the third for others. And the numbers? It's a really simple code. 4 means read, and 2 means write. You just add them up. So that first digit, the 6, is just 4 plus 2. The owner can read and write. The next 2 digits are both 4, which means the group and all the others can only read. And hey, if you ever want to change these rules, you just use a command called chmod for change mode to set a new number. Simple, right? So sometimes just reading and writing your own files isn't going to be enough. There are things you need to do that require the highest level of authority on the entire system, like installing software or changing critical system settings. For that, you need to become the administrator.
The power you get is absolute. It's not just a key to one room, it is the master key that unlocks every single door in the building. It gives you total control, which is incredibly useful and also something you have to handle with a lot of respect.
The command you use to get this power is SU, which stands for substitute user. When you run it and type in the right password, you basically become the root user, the system administrator. You can do anything, but remember, with great power comes great responsibility, so use it carefully. So we've learned these awesome commands, ls, cp, mv. But have you ever stopped to wonder where they actually live? I mean, they're not just magic words. They're actual programs stored somewhere on your computer. And this is the spot. You should think of the bin directory as the main toolbox for your whole Linux system. It's where all the most basic, most essential tools are kept, just ready to go at a moment's notice.
And if you look inside, you'll see some familiar faces. This toolbox holds the commands we just learned, ls, cp, mv. But wait, look closer.
Even Bash, the very program that is the command line terminal you're using, it lives right here too. This directory isn't just important, it is the absolute foundation of the whole system.
And just like that, you've gone from staring at a black box to understanding the tools inside, what they do, the rules they follow, and even where they're kept. You now have a really solid foundation for taking control of the command line.
So here's the foundation we just built together. First, you learned how to see everything with ls-a. Then you figured out how to manage those files with cp and mv. Now you can actually understand the rules they play by with permissions like 644, and finally, you know how to gain total access with su. These are your first 5 keys to really mastering Linux. You might have come here seeing a scary black box, but you're leaving with a set of keys. You have the tools to start exploring, to start building, and to start managing a system with real confidence. So, the only question left is, what are you going to unlock first? Thanks for joining me on The Explainer.